if that helped. Okay, so we want to look at how to really start this up. I mean, we understand that the G0 series are really just general notes, right? The G1 series is where the zoning and planning works. So like if you remember when you go to permits, you have a zoning and planning plan check. That part is where they say, okay, you have a lot of all the lots you have possible, and of all the types of projects you can do, what is your match? What is your fit? And show me that it is your fit. So we look at the Browning project. We look at their G series, G1s. So first, there's a conversation about what the heck is these reference planes? So the first diagram is lot area, right? What that does is it describes what the lot is. Right. So we should have the same thing. So we should have our first diagram lot area. Okay. Cool. Something like that. If we look at this one here, there is Central Line Alley. Probably should show where the street is in the north arrow. That's probably going to be helpful information. So Normandy Ave, right? Which is good. I'm sorry?
No, just made a question.
Okay, we want a symbol for north arrow. Okay, so sometimes it's not an architectural symbol, but rather a annotation symbol. And sometimes it just hates you, and then you just have to search. North arrow. I think we want one of the notation in general. Oh, well, that's weird. Why is it rotating 90 degrees? I'm pretty sure it's north is up. Is that correct? Okay, thank you. So we're going to point, when we point these arrows, like text arrows, right? What we want to do is we want to make it clear. So we want to point to a line, right? This would be confusing, right? This is saying this is the north property, or this is the property line. Now, this area you got by looking through here, right?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that is not how we determine lot areas. We determine lot areas by whatever someone else has determined for their lot area. Right? And if you remember where we got this number, it was from Zemus.
Yeah.
Now, that said, if we're off by a ton, we should raise a flag. Like, hey, what's going on? Why are we so off? Right? And we are off by a ton. So we need to raise a flag on this. What happened to the extra 500 square feet? So let's go to Zemus, go to LA Accessors. You can do Zemus as well. We go back in here, we type in the AIN. Can you tell me what the AIN is? The AIN is the same as APN.
So 80902.
It doesn't seem to see it. So it's 507-801-902.
507-801-902.
Okay. I don't think so. This one is South Normandy. We're supposed to look for North Normandy. Hmm. So is it possible that our project data was filled out incorrectly? All right, well, I can't even find the project data. What the fuck? Okay, this is a task for you to do. Either find the Normandy project data or rebuild it. You know what I'm talking about, right? The spreadsheet. You love spreadsheets, don't you? Okay, so there's an issue here, and because it's an issue, I'm gonna flag it. All right. But the idea is we want to start with this, and we should also start with this. No, 9029, just to have an address in here too. I think that would be beneficial, don't you think?
Sure.
So we have the address and we have the lot area. And then we're gonna have like some question marks. And also, one thing we can do is we can jump to the survey. The survey should also contain some sort of information like this as well. No. This is not a good survey. If we look at the Browning survey, do I even have the Browning survey in here? Yeah, I do. The Browning survey also doesn't give me the divider. What a mess. Okay, well, screw these guys. Okay, so first of all, we start with that diagram with this. What's the next diagram? The next diagram should be like, what is the buildable area, right? Like, what can we build off of this lot? And that is usually got things like setbacks and whatnot. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to move this up so it's in the same exact space because this is digital space, right? And then I'm going to move it a certain number down. So let's make it 5 inches. Let's see if that's good enough. Probably can move it a little bit more. Let's move it 1 more inch. And we're going to make it consistent, right? I'm going to try to make these things consistent so they line up. Okay. Now, this one. All right. In here. So this is a little confusing. So what do you think this is to show? Yeah, but what if you look at the buildable area for here, this is Browning. What is it showing? Mm-hmm. A setback line, which it's not showing here clearly. This is bugging me here. Let's drop these two. We can compare these two visually. Right, like you were given, let's say, the one on top on the bottom to reference, right? So well, first of all, I would say like this is really sloppy work, right? It's not lining up correctly. The property line wasn't pointing to the right thing, right? The setback line, let's say we tuck it inside so it goes through. It's great. But where is the setback line? The setback line isn't even showing here. So do you see this dashed line?
Mhm.
It's not clear here,
Nice.
right? Um. So. The good thing is we have done this before. We have done it here.
Mhm.
Copy it. I'm gonna come back in here. I'm gonna paste in place. It should show up in the right place. Okay, I'm gonna call this, I'm gonna rename this, duplicate, rename, setback for diagrams. So it's similar, we understand setbacks, I won't mess it up. And I'll move it over for a little bit, and then we can talk about this, right? I want you to understand why, what I'm looking at and what you may be missing when you look at it, right? In here, you have chosen to show the XY for this block.
Yeah.
I have not, right?
Mhm.
What I have done instead is shown the relationship between the setback line and the property line. And the relationship is based on the project summary. 15 feet, right? For a front yard, rear yard setback, right? And then for the side yards, 5 feet. And 5 feet for the zone, right? What you have shown is a 4 feet rear, 4 something rear setback. And 28.9. And 6.2. And 12.7. Do you see, can you tell me what this should be then?
Yeah, this should be 5 feet, right?
Can you go to G001 and tell me what the rear yard setback is?
So.
Zero G?
Front.
Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to say this is supposed to be 15 feet. Okay. Good. What about side yards?
Um, 5 feet, 7.5 inches.
Really? For Normandy?
For ADU, so that was some 5 feet. 4. Required.
No, it's not right. It should be 5 feet. So I think, yeah, one of your tasks would be to rebuild that spreadsheet or find it. It could just be on the server somewhere. We just haven't found it and it wasn't copied incorrectly. The reason why it's 5 feet is because it's really dependent on the zoning area. And 5 feet 7 is when it's a 10% reduction, which is a function of the width of the lot when the lot is less than 50 feet, which this isn't. Okay, so that said, if we look at this model, this file here, right? There is no model inside this one. Inside diagrams, view template, if you look at models, everything has been disconnected, hidden. Do you see that? So in here, under the template, well, first of all, you don't have the right template. So as part of doing the cartoon, you need to use the right templates, view templates. Okay, so we're gonna go in here and we're gonna go diagrams. Ideally, someone set this up so that it will be there for you. Okay. And then in the view template, it looks like the diagrams have lost some text. No, take no here. Okay, so In here, it's showing these, which is fine. It's also showing some weird other things. Room separations. Does this project have room separations? The answer is no, it doesn't. So I'm gonna select all instances in the project. So this is a artifact we inherited from the previous, so you delete that.
Yep.
Okay. So delete rooms, okay. We're trying to avoid room separations, also they shouldn't show up. Okay, so now we go into this, we're gonna refine this actually, we will drop the room separations. So this is under lines, room separations. We just don't want to see that, even if it was there. Okay. So this is a region that you made, right?
Yeah.
Now, do you notice my region here in Browning should have a different type of line work on it?
Yeah.
So what I've done when you're setting this up, you can do line weight LW, and then you can just find a dash line weight. Let's do 3 dash. No, doesn't work. So let's just make it invisible. Wait, is this a region? Oh, let's make this 3 dash right here. So, okay. Now it looks similar, right?
Yeah.
So next thing we want to do is we want to align it here. So that this matches the property line exactly. All right. And then you have said offset how many feet for the front? You said 15, right?
Yeah.
So it's an offset, not a copy. It's not a shift. Meaning it's a perfect 15 feet from any point on this line. And when there are skews, we obviously, for our building needs to be rectangular. We need to have our internal offset beyond that. Does that make sense?
Right.
Okay, so let me ask you, if it made sense now, why did it not make sense before?
Well, it made sense to just check the on the users.
But that's part of making this diagram.
Yeah.
Okay. So now we can put in this note here. It should dim out perfectly, right? It does. And it should be 15 feet, but it did not show up as 15 feet. So let's try it again. Offset 15 feet, no copy. Gonna delete that line. Trim. That's okay. Must be closed lines. Okay, let's try it again. Offset this. Offset 5 feet. Uh-oh, is there a different line in here? Is that why I'm not catching them? They don't intersect each other. Is there multiple lines in here? There are. Okay. So there's 2 lines in here? No. Is there another line? There was a little tiny line. Okay. So we're gonna say, okay. I should be able to dim this one out. So there's 15 feet. I should be able to dim this one, 5 feet. I should be able to dim this one, 15 feet. And I could not dim this one because this line is not correct. So I'm gonna pick this one up again. This one's kind of weird. Pick up this line. Gonna offset this line. How many feet? I hope you're paying attention here. I'm trying to teach you what you need to learn.
There. Another thing is that you are also recording things as well.
Right, but recording is, I mean, I need you to,
Most times. Listen.
Okay, maybe you shouldn't multitask.
Alright, so what you want me to do, just watch the video?
Yes, please. What are you doing? What are you trying to do? You put everything on the Bloom session already, haven't you?
Yeah, but there's things for social.
No, the cluster is not your priority. Remember, the priority is Browning. Plan check. Right? Like if you were going to, that's why I was thinking like, oh, you're not multitasking because you're not working on Browning. That's why I thought you weren't multitasking, but I'm not gonna take you that long. I'm not gonna take that long. I'm just gonna do a little bit of this to show you what I need. And then you can get to Browning, no problem. All right, so here's setback. Now we click on this. We think this is 3083 point something something. But you know what significant digits are, right? No. Significant digits are basically how accurate your numbers should be. It's a confidence. We're talking about over large distances. To be honest, significant numbers shouldn't even be the ones, but in this industry, the standard is the ones. So for now, let's consider them integers. Okay, because you're doing offsets, abstract things. It should be it shouldn't be that precise because you can't be. All right, now I'm gonna just delete whatever was over here. We don't need that. So what's the next diagram after this? Can you say again?
Common open space.
Okay, common open space. So it's this one. Something's not showing up visually correct for me. Do you know what's going on? I don't know. Why did you choose black? It's supposed to be white. Sorry. Okay, that's interesting. Again, I'm gonna select all of these and drop them into diagram template. And so when you, in the future, when you do this, right, look at the other drawing Revit models and look at what templates they have. Because that could save you a lot of hassle too. So here, what are you showing here? I'm curious. Okay, so here I have a diagonal up as the building. Okay, yeah, sure. But what do you think makes most sense, right? Like, what project did you reference? This is Browning. Okay, so what do they show?
They did say a lot of these are, but very similar in terms of program.
Okay. So because we don't know what these are, let's do this here. Let's put a cloud on it. Right? And that will bring to my attention that needs to be addressed. Okay. And let's make this cloud red. So it jumps out when we look at the page. Okay. Just need to address. And I agree, a lot of these things, you know, aren't resolved right away. So then beyond that, there are two more diagrams. I think this is too tight now. I have to push them up a little bit. I have another diagram for grade plane and a diagram for adjacent ground level. Okay, which one's the grade plane? Why is this called L1 average grade plane?
Try to achieve.
So I think if it was 6 inches, it's running off the space, but that could also be because we have the text here, right? What if I put the text over here? I think that would be fine, actually. So I'll have you line up everything. I think this is still too tight. I think maybe we'll do, 5.5 inches. And then I think for now it's okay. So I'm gonna move this out a certain distance as well. Let's say 1 feet. And I want this to be in the right location, relative. So I'm gonna paste in place the other text. Right? So I've copied this text over here. So now let's look at these charts. So what is in this chart that you are trying to show?
It's a total, edited total.
Okay, so let me ask, did you put the topo in?
Okay.
Okay, so that I'm able to pick this up and find topo everywhere,
It should be closer to the building. I think it's-
but why is it not here?
Well, that's the thing I was saying. Trying to look.
Okay,
I was trying to reference the survey.
can you tell me have you looked at the topos for the other projects?
Yeah,
You did, okay. So do you understand how those were done?
I think they're fairly similar.
So what did you try and what
I guess
didn't work for you?
survey. 300.
Okay, And
So
then?
that's the only difference.
I understand, but do you see how here your topo is limited to inside this space?
Yeah.
But do you see how here the topo goes to the property line?
Yeah.
So obviously you notice it now, but why did you not notice it before?
Well, I've been in this, but the thing is, that was to be resolved.
Okay, so do you know how to resolve it?
I do, just extend it to the property.
Okay, so, all right, no, I'm just trying to make sure that the thing is you give this to me and I'm like, oh, okay, well, either you don't know how to extend the property line
Yeah.
or you don't know that the topo needs to extend to the property.
So this term of referencing the survey, so probably, so this topo. I feel like we're gonna try to edit that. The landscape was super hot, so I don't know if it was like.
Okay, so one step at a time,
You know
right?
what I'm saying?
No, I don't. Right now, I want to make sure that you understand how we get to here.
For instance, if you look at the survey.
We're not there yet. We're just not there yet right now, right? I'm just one step at a time, man. Just relax. One step at a time. You know how to get to here. Right? Okay, next time I expect you to get to here. Okay? Now, do you see how this is still not the same as this? Do you know how to get from here to here?
Yeah,
How?
that's what I did.
Do you know how, okay, do you notice the difference between this and this?
Yeah.
Okay, do you know how to get from this to here?
Just change the box. To value.
Excellent. So we go to hidden lines, and we're gonna hide that survey topo extent. Okay, great. So next time I expect you to be able to do that. So the next part here is, do you understand that this here is a distance 6 feet from the building?
Yeah.
So then if this is the extent of the building, that this should be 6 feet from here. Do you understand that? Okay, so then why does this show 5 feet?
Well, I either make something together.
Okay, so let's next time I expect you to read this 6 feet and be able to map this to be 6 feet, okay? And obviously, a lot of it is you haven't done this before, but a lot of it also could be that I just haven't told you this before, that you need to be more precise and more accurate. So it's 6 feet all around, except for this one. Why? Because we would be off our property. And we cannot be responsible for the grade that is off our property. All right, and now, do you understand the difference between what you did here versus what was done here? Okay, so do you know what you need to do next time? Okay, can you go up to the screen and mark where I should be putting those spot elevations? Yeah, go up and point.
Are you looking at this side, right?
Yeah,
So I mean, it's quite interesting.
okay, where do you want to put it? Just point.
Here,
Okay,
on the middle, on the other side.
where are the other ones? I'm sorry, where's the middle one? On, point it on here, please. Okay, just hold. Where's the middle? Okay, great. Where else do we need to put them?
These are not seven. Pretty much here. It's not to the bottom.
A point, please. I'm not making it hard on you. I'm saying, why haven't you done this before? That's the answer, right?
Right, but
Like-
you physically having walked to something.
Yeah, yeah.
It's pretty clear.
Because I think it's not clear. I really think it's not. Can you point? No, not on this old one. Put it on the new one. Where do you put it? Good. Good. No,
Here.
no.
Yeah, so.
Yeah,
Right here.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Where else? Good. Where else? Let me zoom in for a little bit.
Yeah, that's showing right here, so I'm not sure what that's right.
Okay. So what do you think it is referencing to? So which one, where is the last one to put? So obviously we need 7 of them, right?
Yeah, you need about.
Okay, where's the 7th going?
You don't want the same plane, sevens to go somewhere.
Nope. That's why I'm having you stand up here.
Yeah.
Think about it. What are you seeing down
But what
here?
I'm telling you is that this right here isn't present on this diagram.
I
Yeah,
get that
so that's-
one part of it is missing,
Yeah.
but the other parts are there. Let's get the other parts in first. So we have,
So
do you see how you have
yeah,
6 dots on there and you have a 7?
The last one's this one, that's this.
No.
So which one is it missing?
Dude, just look.
Well,
All right, do you really want me to walk up here too?
yeah.
It's not, okay,
One,
which one do you think is missing?
1, 2, 3, the one that's missing is this one.
No, it's not. The one that's missing is this one.
How is it missing?
Look,
It's there.
that's the thing.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So how is this one missing?
Because that's one with the property line. You're not looking carefully. You gotta, you gotta read.
well, right here.
That's not, that's, yes, that is a property line, but it's missing here.
I understand, but what I'm saying right here, this kind of, okay, I see.
I get it, it's
Yeah, it is.
confusing. I mean, that's not confusing. Where do you wanna put that 7th one?
You put the 7.
Where?
Right here. So, you tell me what I'll put it.
You wanna put it here. That's where the survey starts, that's the survey 100 points,
Right.
right? You have to be more humble,
Oh, I
man.
see.
Like, I'm not making, these aren't trick questions. You have to
Well,
think.
what I'm saying is, these two diagrams are totally different.
I get it, but this lesson is here.
Yeah, of course, it's super generic,
No,
but I,
look, right, we're trying to find all the elevation points 6 feet from the ground.
right,
That's these 6,
Right.
right? And this one, there's 2 buildings, so there's a little difference.
Right.
So that's this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, this one. And then I put another dent in there.
Right.
Why? Right? I'm trying to show what 100 looks like, where 100 is. If you don't go through this process, you're not gonna learn from the diagrams.
well, it's pretty explainable. But what I'm saying is the only difference is that these two diagrams is totally different. Simple.
No,
Aside from that,
okay.
me
so-
locating these exact
It is
points.
explainable. I expected you to do this before, right? In fact, we haven't gone to it, is something stuck, something wasn't clear. And what is clear, what wasn't clear, it seems like you didn't realize it was something.
Yeah.
What wasn't clear was we didn't realize one of the points was 100.
Right.
So now you know.
Yeah, I'm not,
I need you next time to learn this without me explaining.
right,
Be very careful looking at the diagram and ask yourself, why were there 7 points? But you have to analyze these things. Okay, so let's do the same thing for this diagram here. Right? This is a building adjacent grade level. First of all, I'm assuming you read this blurb. Yes?
Yeah.
Okay, so you know then that this should be 5 feet, right? It's silly that they do this, make us do it differently from grading and not. But here, I'm seeing that you have done this at 6 feet. So and then also, you know that you have to do the line weight thing for both of these, right? Because these temporary settings do not apply across different models. Okay, so now this is gone. We're gonna delete these dims, because they're not relevant. This one is. This is not relevant, right? And then we're going to draw in a 5 feet line. Like 5 feet line. And this also is going to be sorry. This 5 feet line is not offset in, it's actually offset out. Right? Offset. 5 feet, 5 feet, 5 feet, 5 feet. And obviously we can't do 5 feet for the last one because of the rear setback. So now this dim is going to be here, right? I'm gonna make this one here, I'm gonna make this a dash line. I'm gonna make it a 3 dash. A 3 dash is a line weight, it's level 3. We're usually using 1, 5, and 3s. You can use more too. These two are missing the diagram tags setback and property line. Right? So that should be in all of these, right? Because you see it here, right? It's like, yeah, and then this one also is missing that. And it's always pointed in the right place. Okay. So now here, it's silly, but I'm gonna ask you again, where do the spot coordinates go? Okay, good. So we have the starting point at 100, right? Where else? These are not property lines. These are 5 foot setback lines. Right? That's what it is. So it also appears that I've missed a couple of dims here. Okay, so now, at the very least, these two diagrams have all the annotations correct. All right, So obviously, it doesn't strike me as odd that I'm missing these points, right? These are 99s, we know they're not 99s. So let us go now to the survey. Get topo, and let's fix the survey topo. Okay, so the topo layer is on. We usually have a survey coordination set. This is a reference. So that's this here, right? And in here, we should have a, if I were to box select, I should be able to pick up a topo, which I can see here. Okay. And then I'm going to move the topo. I actually don't want to move the topo. I want to copy this. So I'm going to go VV. I'm going to hide everything in here, but the topo. And the topo is under here. I'm going to hide everything but the topo and the property line. I probably should have the property line. Lines, property lines, maybe. There's property lines in here? No, I think property lines are inside the annotations. There's a CAD file. I'm going to hide. Oh, actually, the CAD file contains these elevation points, right? So now, if I were to select, then I'm going to hide the scope boxes too, because I don't need it. And you can do a temporary hide too, right? You know how to use this temporary isolate. So I want to see where the topo is. Ah, the topo got lost. Topo solid. Okay, so this is the topo. I can't see the CAD file over the topo now, which is kind of annoying. So you click on drawing layer, you put it on the foreground. That brings it in front. Okay. And now what you do is you go into the topo, you select the topo, and you click on this button here. You have to look over here now. It's modify sub elements, right? If you search Google, how do you mix topos? You do that. All right, so we know that the topo is on 100. Okay, so that means if you're to look at it, everything's 100, right? And we know that 100 is, fuck, where's 100? Oh, they don't even have 100. All right, so we have to change that so it's different. It's 100. So we know that they're relatively close to these numbers. So we can do this.
So if it's not 100, would you just assume that like that 338.52?
We would choose 100 somewhere. So we would choose, I get that, but that's this step, right?
Right.
It's two different steps. And it's not like I'm not going to get to it. I think we can do a couple of things. We can choose this topo to be at 338 easily. Right now, this is from level. And so what we can do is we go to an elevation. Right, we go to an elevation. There's some weird shit going on here. This is a roof level, right? We're going to create another level. We're going to call this topo start. All right. And that we can call this, you know, negative 300, 30. I don't know, it's down there, right? Now we click on this thing and say, okay, base you yourself, not on level 1, but topo start. And we're going to start you at 100, 338. Yeah. So then in 3D, topo somewhere here, right? Negative 330, 338. I can be more precise here, I can call this negative 338. Right, whatever. But the point here is, now that we're here, we can add a point. So this point is at this point here. How do I add a point? Power level 338.33. And then we drop it. Okay, let's see what that looks like, roughly speaking. Whoa, it's really hot. Yeah. So we just say, yeah, but that's okay, right? That's okay, because what we do is we click on this, we modify that point, right? And we don't call it 338. Why did this go up? 338.33. So it should be right here. Perfect. You see that?
Yeah.
So you go through with a couple more, right? I usually like to go to the ends. So this is, why is this current level? And this is 339.25. Why is it offset from surface? Ah, 1 second here. Is there a difference here? I think it's right. Let's go back in here. At a point. This is also Revit 2025, so it's a little different. I'm gonna go absolute. It's going to be 339.25. Like, I'm not familiar with this format, but I can figure it out. There it is, right? Do we need all the points? No, not really, right? This is 338.28. No, 338.28. Let me just click on this, we'll get some more points. I lose some points here. Guess I have to, let's not delete that first. 338.38. 338.38. Ah, fuck me. All right, we're gonna have to add those dimensions back in the diagrams, I think. No, these are still here. Yeah, I think these dimensions got moved around. So now at least where you know where they are, you can move them back, right? I'm gonna just add a couple more points, and I'll ask you to add some more, obviously, beyond that. 337.62. Three 38.08. Three 38.08. I should raise it up a little bit. And oh, I could add more things out here. 337.95. I don't know if that works actually. I think it doesn't exist outside. Let's add one more in between. 337. 37.71. Oh, I got 337. I typed 237. And that dips the project in. So now if we look at this, you have some of a topo surface, and the topo surface kind of dips under in between. But for the most part, it's pretty flat. And that's what we expected. So we're here. You got to do some more line weights, hidden lines. So yeah, you see how they do change now when you're in around a little bit. So let's say we do this now. But hey, everything is still more or less flat, right? And then this is 100. And I may be wrong, it may not be that, that's 100 too. But at least now you know. So okay, you'll change that. You'll alter. This is also 100. Interesting. You'll these guys got shifted a little bit. So bring it back. No big deal. Okay. All right. So does this line up? Yeah, it does. Okay. So what is this? This is an extra note. This is also an extra note. Okay. So we have done these diagrams. What is the next diagram? What are the next diagrams?
Oh.
I'm mistaken. What are the next schedules here? What are these for? Do you know off the top of your head?
Well,
Okay, please read them. Please understand. One is an average building area. It's with table 506.2. Look at that table, read it, read the section. And this, write this down on your wish list, write this down on your task list, please.
right,
You have a running task list and put it in the weekly once you're done.
right, cool. What is it?
This one here. And this one is 504.4, and this is 506.2. I expect you to ask questions once you've read it, right? But I want you to understand it because that's someone who is a draftsperson doing this type of work. Unless you want to be a job that's like outsourced to like India, you got to know what you're doing and why, right? And you want to know, you should want to. Anyways, I will go over my explanation here right now. What you have here are, I imagine you pulled from a different project or whatnot, but it doesn't really matter. Formatting is a little different. Here, there are two tables. One talks about the allowable building height in feet above the grade plane, and the grade plane having been established here. This one calls about allowable number of stories above grade plane. So both of these determine how tall your building can be and how many levels, right? And then this one here is a allowable area factor. And this determines how big each floor plate can be. Okay? So understand all these different things. Like I should be able to ask you, why do you think we have everything hatched but this area? You should be able to answer that. And I actually think this is wrong. I think maybe you're missing some hatches. Usually I'm just showing this as like, it's the intersection of SR13R or S13R and A under type 5. And I will follow up with you and ask you, why is this project this area? I want you to be able to understand that. Okay? So here, this is not correct. So we have to fix this. So I'm gonna I don't have time right now to do this. I'm gonna fix this here, fix this, and fix this. And the reason why it's not correct is the R2 is not correct. Ah, fuck. I think I overspoke. I think R2 is correct. I think we are good. We should be R2 actually. We should be R2. I think what's not correct is this thing here. I think we should be looking at S13Rs for this project. Which means the floor plate should not exceed 7,000 square feet per unit. Which, given that this whole thing is only 3,000 square feet, or rather the whole lot is only 5,000 square feet, we're not going to be possible to have a floor plate that's bigger than that, right? We'll have more floors, but not a floor plate. And then for this one here, for number of square foot, number of stories above it, we should also be for the SR13s R for fire. And we are going to be at 3 stories above grade, which should be okay. So it's a 5A. And then we gotta update and make sure that this is the latest version too. So understand that they changed numbers and whatnot. And then same thing here, we're here. We should be 50 feet, which should be good. Because we're actually probably less than 40 feet. So we may be good at a type 5B here. And as you can imagine, these are whichever is the most constraining applies. So from that, you can prove to the summary table on G001 how you got that information. Okay, so together, that is the strategy for this. This isn't well laid out. We need to lay out the graphics on this a little bit more, but I don't really have that much more time. And I do want to wrap this up a little bit. Find a good point for you because you have other priorities. So let's look at here and see where we are with the Bluebeam session that we talked about. So I'm expecting here to see a Normandy 5. I don't see it, dude.
Scared.
Huh?
On this red light. I don't know, man. Here. It's within on your website, right?
No, I just don't see it. Let me close my Bluebeam file. Maybe there's some problems with my computer. Dude, it's still on here, man.
Sorry, very good. I mean, I'm sorry. Do you want to look at my computer and see?
Look,
I'm not there. Like, I don't know what more to tell you. This is the normal question.
it says it's uploading. Do you see that? It says uploading.
So, look,
So what does it mean when it's uploading?
it's been doing this for a while.
Do you see that it's connected? That's what it means. Hey, I didn't see the disconnected button. I'm gonna connect it.
I don't know what that one's affected it, honestly.
Well, that's why you observe. You look and you check. All right. Okay, so I have here on my right the latest, and this is the old. For some reason, there's a couple more sheets on this one than the old. All right. So let's go through the Excel sheet of what we wanted to review last time. It's this one here, right?
Yeah.
Just gonna copy this out. I could probably just copy the tabs out too, but. I'm definitely not worried about space on server stuff, so I just want to try to be as clear as possible. All right, so on my screen, I have these. So last time we talked about when you make these adjustments, you change it to yellow. So I'm gonna check for the yellow ones, assume that the reds and other things are still in progress, right? All right, so G000, you wanted me to check something. It says, I'm not sure what you wanted me to check actually. So I think it looks good. So I'm just gonna make it green. I think it's good. I'll just show you, like, this is what I mean by I make it green, yeah? Well, all right, next one here is G10. Granted, yellow. It's pending. Okay, so it is pending, you're right, but it shouldn't be Jimmy to check. So let's just use this color. Still in progress type thing, okay? Next one, G101, I'm gonna call it green because we just looked at that. I'll fix the rest of it. Missing chart. So G103, were you able to put the chart in?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. G103. You've put the chart in, cool. And you've done quite a bit here, and you've populated the calculation. So is this information correct?
I don't think so.
Okay, so do you know what needs to happen to make those information correct? Okay, have you looked at the Browning plans and understood what the Brownings show?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go through the Browning plans real quick, and it's not that hard.
No.
Okay, so the purpose of the allowable diagrams. Okay, we'll go to Browning. This is an archive copy, so there's no issues with risks or anything. Okay, so let's take a small one for instance and understand it. You start with this key plan here. What the key plan does is it shows you the setbacks to yourself or adjacent property, right? It shows that this building in the back has 6 foot to this side, this 6 foot to this side, 33 feet to the property line. It also shows that we have an imaginary property line, imaginary line for calculating, you know, yeah, you've read this. So it's 10 feet here, right? And then for this building, we got 6, 12, 15, and 5. Right. And then we go and look at this. When you put in this table, did you read the section around it?
Sure.
Okay, so then you understand that this is really about understanding what is the maximum requirements or allowances for openings. So that basically the flame doesn't leave your building, hit someone else, or vice versa. And so here you are looking at something like this, right? We are in R2. We have our own fire requirements, and we have this table. So I'm gonna have you ask, you've put this information in, right? Did you check it? Okay.
We didn't check it.
Like where are these numbers coming from?
Well, they're coming from the project.
Which project?
We've.
Yeah, okay, so if you see that different projects have different versions of this, in the future, I'm gonna ask you to put all three of them right there. Just put them all in there, and then we can pick and choose.
Right.
Right now, when you put this in there and it's not red, I'm like, oh, so you already checked it and you've been sure.
Right.
Right? Okay, so how do you check this? You check this by going actually to table 705. Up codes 705.8. Allowable areas. We're gonna go through the codes. We're gonna verify that we're not in Illinois, but rather LA City. We are in residential code. Wall construction. Openings. Let's find openings. Oh, geez, okay. LARC, window openings, requirements. Which section is it? It's 312. No. I'm actually not sure, because residential code may be different. Let's see here. Well, this is just window details. Okay, let's go back. Instead of residential code, let's go to building code. 2022, table 5, or it was 708 or was it 508? It was 705. So we go to chapter 7, fire. The reason why it's okay to be in the building code is because 705 is actually not part of the building code, but rather leafed in from the fire code. And whether it's buildings of residential or buildings of commercial, the fire department doesn't give a, they'll just be like, you follow our code. Okay, so here we are in buildings of, so this is the full code, right? We are looking at a smaller version of it, obviously in here. So we go in here. Oh, that's way too big. We are considered, and then we'll go back in here. What are we? We are considered not sprinkled. Yeah, we are considered unprotected, not sprinkler. So that is the UPNS. Okay. So UPNS. I'll make this real small here. Can you still see on that screen?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So 03 UPNS is not permitted. Good. 3 to 5 UPNS is not permitted. Not good. Protected openings are things that are 7.802, which requires a firewall, I believe. Let's look at this, 708.2. Now, this is 705.5. Why is this a different number than 7.8? We were looking at 7.58, 7.55. Okay, so we first need to do this diagram. I think we're missing a diagram here. We need to have this diagram, which talks about. Let's come on, reload, please. Come on. No, my computer is not handling well. All right. Let's stay here. Let's say that we are assumed to be, instead of this, we have to be in the sprinkler world. So this is no longer NFPA 13D, it's NFPA 13R. So that means up here, we have to be in NFPA 13R. Okay, that's what would trigger the protection requirements. So we have 15% here. This is 25%. Okay, it looks like you have the correct one. Obviously, we're somewhere in here, right? So 15% of the back wall needs to be, which one's the back wall? West. That's this one. So this should be 15%, right? This is more than 5. So that's 25% is going to be the north wall. That's good, right? And then more than 10 is going to be the south wall. And this one here is going to be actually 30 or greater, right? Yeah, because there's nothing, there's no there's no nothing stopping us from lighting up. So now we understand that in this table, right, this allowable requirement is going to be determined by that table you built. Then the square footage, the total square footage is going to be simply the area of this much area. What I do is I make a hatch and then I just hide it. I hide it so that I can pull it up to verify, but I make it so then I can take that information in the hatch and put it in here. And then you do a multiplier and you get the allowable square footage. And then we do hatches of these spaces, these windows and doors, and we get the proposed areas. And then from there, we calculate the percentage proposed by dividing this to this. Ideally, this is a spreadsheet, but for now, it's just text. And then what we want to do is we want to confirm that the allowable is in fact greater than the proposed.
Allowable greater.
Yeah. And so in Browning, an example here would be, let's see in here. Let's see here, maybe this one has the hatches. No, I lost those hatches already. I don't know what that is. That's a refrigerator. That's weird. Okay, so let's, for example, right? These 3 hatches take 63 square feet. This is level 2. And then if I just create a new one here, from floor to floor, roughly speaking, that is 559. I have written 565 for some reason. Not sure why. Maybe there's some missing dims here that weren't captured. 560, something like that. So then this number goes in here, and those numbers get in here, and that's how you calculate it. Fortunately for us, this particular elevation is unlimited, so it doesn't matter. Oh, I know why this number changed is because the team changed my floor to floor heights afterwards. Okay, so that's how you create the thing. Now, obviously, what you have here is definitely good enough for the cartoon set, right? But make these red, or just cloud them and say, hey, we've got to do that. That would be basically then in the spreadsheet what we need to do here. So here, let's say I'm gonna give you directions. And this is it's 103. Okay. All right, next. Were you able to do these?
They would find solar. Of
601, not here, 602's here, right? So 602 is good. 601. So I'm just gonna go to Browning.
solar.
So I'm just gonna go Browning G601. It's not in here indeed.
Yeah,
Okay, so what was that? Did you remember what that was?
I think it's connected to the point facility. First.
Manage links. PDFs. It's missing something, right? So obviously, I'm assuming it's one of the things that are missing, so you couldn't find it, right?
Yeah.
So how do you go from there, right? So it was missing some ESRs, polyglass. I think the product was polyglass, right? So it was a path here, right? Do you remember that?
Yeah.
So we did say that I had changed the project directory. Do you remember that?
Mhm.
So then if I change the project directory, my understanding is that it's possible some of these links may have been lost. Right? Do you remember that?
Yeah.
I think I posted it in Teams. So basically then what you want to do is to go in here. Copy it. Can I copy this? No, cannot. So I'm gonna go and manage. I'm gonna see if there's, first of all, any missing links in here. No, oh, there are. Oh, there are. So I'm gonna go reload from. I'm just gonna reload it. Projects. Bin PDFs. Actually, probably not a good idea to do that. Probably would be a better idea to not pull from Browning, right? So I'm gonna just copy it, drop it in here. And then I'm just gonna grab, I think it was the first page that I had. Say okay, say okay. And it's in here. Okay. I'll end the call for now. I think it's good enough.